and welcome to Visions. I'm Mirella Rich. Today our guest is Di Hirsh, who is the convener for the women's group of the Jewish Christian Muslim Association of Australia. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Can you tell us what is the Jewish Christian Muslim Association of Australia?
The Jewish Christian Muslim Association is a group that holds a living conference once a year. They've been going about 4 or 5 years in Australia. They've held 4 living conferences, and they bring approximately 60 people from the 3 different main faiths together to talk about their faith and to get to know each other and understand each other.
How long have you been involved in interfaith activities?
I've been involved for about 5 or 6 years in interfaith activities. Probably it began mostly when I became the president of the National Council of Jewish Women of Victoria, and I organised a Living in Harmony one-day conference, and from that I became very interested in interfaith, and I went to the second JCMAA conference and the third one.
Right. And how long has JCMAA been going in Australia?
It's about 4 or 5 years that they've been in Australia.
And how did you first get involved? What was your first step to be a part of it?
I received an email, I believe, telling me about the conference, and I thought that sounded really interesting. So I went along, and I met some amazing people and had the most beautiful experience, and I wanted to do more.
Right. And what was the JCMAA Women's Conference about?
Well, the JCMAA Women's Conference, they wanted to have a conference just for women, so they asked if I would be interested to convene it, which I did. And we had a 3-day conference in February. The first one was February this year. And we went away to the Edmund Rice Centre and for 3 days and talked about our beliefs and got to know each other. And we danced and we sang. And we had the most amazing experience. Everyone said, there were 45 women from the 3 different faiths, and everyone said it was just one of the most amazing experiences of their lives.
Right. And what do you think was the reason, or what was the initiation for this? Why did you want to bring all these different Christian, Jewish and Muslim women all together?
Well, I believe that there's a lot of fear of the other person in our world, especially today, and we need to overcome that fear by getting to know each other better and to understand where the other person is coming from. And I believe that women can be a very strong force for good, and by coming together only as women with no men there, you have a different atmosphere, and it's a more personal experience that is achieved than in a mixed group.
Beautiful. And what were the responses from the other women from all the different religious groups?
They found it amazing. The women have bonded very well. We still see each other. We asked them at the end, what do you want to do in the future? And everyone wanted to stay in touch and to be able to see each other and keep on the conversations that we began. And that was actually the theme of the conference, continuing conversations.
Beautiful. And what sort of issues did you cover in the conference?
Well, we talked about some of our foremothers. We talked about Sarah and Hagar and Mary, and we talked about other women who have been an influence in our lives. And
Who's Sarah, Hagar and Mary?
Well, Sarah and Hagar were
the Bible.
From the Bible, yes. Rather than saying we're coming from our father Abraham, we wanted to have that positive women's image. So Sarah was Abraham's wife and Hagar also, and they each bore him a son. And Mary was the inspirational Christian woman that we chose.
Beautiful. And how long did this conference go for?
3 days,
3
2
days.
nights.
And so everyone sleeps over.
Yes, yeah. We ate together, we sat together, we talked together, and we joked together, and we stayed there overnight, so that we were there from breakfast right through till.
And who organised the whole thing?
I did. With a group of women. I had a committee of women of the various faiths, and We had so much fun.
Yeah. Oh, that's
It was a
beautiful.
wonderful committee.
Yeah.
We organised things. We sat down and we did the work that we had to do in organising the program and all the bits and pieces. And then we just sat and talked, and that was the best part of our committee meetings.
Yeah, when you sat and
to
talked.
talk about
yeah.
each other's faiths and asking each other questions and getting to know each other more. And it was beautiful.
That's so beautiful. So that there wasn't really a lot of stress in it, would you say?
No,
Or- yeah.
no, there was no stress at all.
Isn't that great? Like when people are one heart and soul and mind, that stress goes away because you've got something that you all want to achieve
That's
together.
right, that's right.
And that brings
People
the
of
harmony.
goodwill.
Yeah. And what do you think the benefits of the Jewish Christian Muslim Association of Australia are in the world today?
Well, I believe it's like ripples in a pond, that we start by bringing in a few people together to get to know each other, and then they can spread the word to their friends that, you know, people of the other faiths, that they're not so bad, they don't want to hurt us. There's plenty of people in all the faiths of goodwill, and if there's enough, and if we choose to act and to come together, then we can do a lot of good in the world.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, when you get to know people individually, it's so different. Like I remember I caught a taxi and the taxi driver was a Muslim, and he was saying to me that the next door neighbours to him were Christians, and they were very sick, that they were all elderly, and the wife was very sick, so he went over to their house, not as a taxi driver but as a neighbour, and he said, look, I'll drive you to the hospital. And just he was telling me how we all get along. It's
That's
just the
right.
bigger people don't.
That's
you know?
right. That's
people
right.
in
We
the
can all
power
get along if we want to.
Yeah, so it is very, very simple. And you hear little stories like that of people actually getting along and actually being, like he was almost saying they were like best friends. They were so close, this family to him. So you hear that. So you must come up with you must hear a lot of positive stories going through this.
Oh, there's a lot of positive stories out there, and I don't think they get out into the wider public enough. I think there's too many of the bad stories coming through the media, and we want to get the word out that there's lots of people out there who are doing good and coming together. I mean, ours isn't the only group. There's many other groups working together in an interfaith or intercultural way.
Yeah.
And we need to know that it's going on, and that we can do a lot of good.
Yeah, and that's more important than hearing bad news.
That's right.
Hearing good news, things going ahead, encourages people.
That's right, definitely.
Beautiful. We're about to go to a break now. You're watching Visions. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly.